let's move on now to the Washington Commanders 2023 NFL Draft Review. But before we do that, if you have not already, hit that subscribe button and also ring that bell to get notified when we create new content. Ryan and I, we have a goal of getting to 2,000 subscribers by the beginning of the season. So if you would like to see more Commanders content or just more NFC East content or just general NFL content about the other teams or predictions on games, be sure to subscribe and ring that bell to get notified. And Ryan, let's get into it.
Let's do it.
The Commanders, I feel very weird about this draft because we were very clear going in to their draft in our reviews. They need to address the secondary. They need to address the offensive line. Mm-hmm. They did that in the free agency on the offensive line. They brought in Andrew Wiley, and I like that signing. And then in their first 4 picks, they did 2 picks for both the secondary and the offensive line. So I give them props there.
Yeah.
However, especially the first with the secondary, Christian Gonzalez was there.
Yes.
So that's my thing. And that's where I'm high on Christian Gonzalez. However, I can also speak for the both of us. We are not professional NFL scouts. Mm-hmm. So if they feel like that he fits their system better, I will trust them more. But I just personally, I think Christian Gonzalez is the better prospect.
Yeah. So I have a feeling we might be able to look back at this draft and view it as a Jalen Reagor, Justin Jefferson type of scenario where the Eagles took Jalen Reagor the pick before Justin Jefferson was taken. And then Justin Jefferson is now a perennial Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
And I do like Christian Gonzalez a lot. I'm also a Patriots fan, so maybe that's swaying my bias slightly. But one of the big things with Emmanuel Forbes that we've never seen is a cornerback at 166 pounds be competitive on the outside at 6'1" or 6'2". And to put that in perspective, that is like 1 percentile weight for that size. Mm-hmm. And I understand he was super productive in college. Some of that was luck, and some of that was actually making good plays. But usually when you see prospects like this who might have been productive but still have like one of these size red flags, or they're an extreme outlier on whether they're really big or really small, they usually fall to the second round due to this. And to me, just to take Emmanuel Forbes with this huge, I don't want to say huge red flag, but again, we've never seen a guy at this height and this weight really succeed on the outside.
Yeah.
So I question that a lot. And
go ahead.
And especially with a guy like Christian Gonzalez that was on the board.
Well,
that to me is like the final straw that makes me not like this pick.
It wasn't, and then like in comparison to the pick before, the Jets took Will McDonald, and there's some talk of it being a reach, but it's like I was saying, like all the tackles were off the board there, and then if you look at the next couple, I mean, maybe they could have taken a receiver to help out Aaron Rodgers, but it's like I think they just took the best player available to help out with that defensive line, and there weren't too many other good defensive linemen available till like the 50th pick. So it's like I give them the benefit of the doubt there. With here, though, I bring that example up because for here, though, Christian Gonzalez was projected to go before this, and he was still available. Deontay Banks was projected to still go there. Joey Porter Jr. was still projected to go there. Brian Branch was also considered a first-round safety as well, and so that's where to me it's like I had all those guys better than him. If it's like one player, it's like give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm still going to give them the benefit of the doubt because it's their scouts. They feel like they can go into the system. But this is one I remember when this happened, and we're like, I just don't think that's right. We like that it filled the position. I just don't feel like that was the best pick. And it kind of also then moving on to the next pick as well. I feel a little bit similar. To be fair, Brian Branch wasn't available here. He was taking 2 picks earlier. Yeah. Maybe they could have gone up and traded for him. I think that would have been a great addition. But I will say, even then, though, I felt like Sidney Brown was a better prospect as well out of Illinois.
Of the two,
and I think he went maybe 15 picks later, 20 picks later.
He went at the top of the third, I believe.
Yeah. So as even going back to what I said, they're the professional NFL scouts. I saw it a little bit. We saw it a little bit differently. I'm curious to hear what your the fans' thoughts are. The Commanders fans are. Yeah. And so that's for those first 2 picks. There, it's like I'm glad you addressed the secondary, but I feel like it could have been better. Like if this was Christian Gonzalez, Sidney Brown, yeah, I would have felt a lot better about these first two picks.
Oh yeah, that to me would have totally revamped this secondary. But now I still have some questions about how successful that it will be. But
Yeah.
Let's move on now to the next couple picks. I like the fact that they address the offensive line, specifically the interior.
Mm-hmm.
Ricky Stromberg coming into the 2022 college season was one of the top-rated interior offensive linemen. However, he didn't have the greatest 2022, nor did he perform super well at, I believe, and then the combine. And his draft stock had fallen quite a bit for me. I actually had a middle day 3 grade on him. And Braden Daniels, I think this was about where he was supposed to go. He's a little bit slight to be a guard. I want to say he's probably more of a tackle, like 6'5", 2'9", somewhere around that range. So he's definitely going to need to put a little more weight on to be successful at the next level. But actually, their next picks, you look at where I thought Ricky Stromberg would go, but like middle to late day 3. KJ Henry, I really like. That is good edge rushing depth. Chris Rodriguez is a bigger bully back, and then Andre Jones Jr. is a pretty solid edge depth out of Louisiana. So
yeah,
they had 7 picks. I just felt like they might have missed the mark overall on some of their picks.
Yeah, well, especially the early picks, and that's where a lot of the grades can be changed. I feel like if you have a poor like late day 3, it's like no one really cares because it's like you're trying to find best players. But when you miss on, or when you misses, it's early. It's preemptive to say if they're misses. Yeah. But if you feels like you didn't execute well on day 1 and day 2, that's where the value is. I absolutely like the immediate value is back. And well, yeah, when it comes with round 3 and round 4, Ricky Strong, like very late round 3. I mean, if it felt like he was a day 3 lineman, like borderline there, like so maybe they just saw something like him. And also, to be fair, too, I guess by their next pick, 118, a bunch of that's like there's a run of offensive linemen that have gone from like 104 to then. So I still think they got good value, and even then compared to the first 2 picks, they did address needs immediately. So. Then later picks, I agree. I think just addressing that defensive line. It's interesting, too, with Chase Young that they didn't pick up his 5th-year option. So I almost wonder if maybe they're seeing if there's some potential sleepers that they can find some diamonds in the rough that can help replace him on a very cheap contract and then move on from him because they gave Deron Payne a well-deserved $90 million, which I think $45 million fully guaranteed. So Deron Payne, if you ever want to do an interview, just call us up. We have a small fee. It's a small fee for the interview. So, but let's move on though now to the grades. And I was a little bit higher than you because we talked about it a little bit before. Because like I don't like those picks. I'll be completely honest, especially like the first 2 rounds. But I gave them B- because B for me was like the average. Like if you just said it was just a good solid draft, found improvement, and I didn't get them any lower than a B- because they did still address positional needs, and they doubled up on them just to make sure that like they got enough talent, enough rookie talent in there, and their 2 biggest weaknesses, secondary and offensive line. So it's hard for me to give them a C+, which is what I gave the Vikings and the Ravens. And then Miami a C, because I felt like they did still at least address some of the concerns that plagued their team going into this offseason. So they found some potential talent that they can build off of, and that's where I give them the benefit of the doubt there. Even if it was the prospects that I would have gone with, my opinion doesn't matter when it comes to draft day. It's like into them. Like they're going to pick who they want to pick. And if they like those guys and they truly feel Emmanuel Forbes is better than Christian Gonzalez, then I'm good for them, and I hope he pans out. I hope that Emmanuel Forbes is a great rookie season until they play the Falcons in the NFC Championship, and then he just forgets how to play football. That's my thought.
So going into my grade, I had to base it off of my board because I feel like the reason why I was so low on this class was because I had Christian Gonzalez as a top 10 pick. Like I think there was legitimate debate on whether, in a lot of our mock drafts, we debated if Devin Witherspoon or Christian Gonzalez would be the first corner taken off the board. And then I had 3 other corners besides Christian Gonzalez and Devin Witherspoon before Emmanuel Forbes.
Yeah.
And so for me, that, especially with all those corners being on the board, I can't rate that pick well. Based off of my board. And then I also, Jartavius Martin, I liked Sidney Brown a lot, especially after the Senior Bowl and hearing about his character off the field. I really liked him, and I felt that was another missed swing there. And then I also wasn't as high on Ricky Stromberg. And again, I'm also grading these players in a kind of, I don't want to say in a vacuum, but they're grading these players and how they apply to their system and what they want them to do. So that is a little bit different as well. But based off of my board, I just think they kind of missed the mark with this draft. And so,
and that's where it's tough. And they had a very bland draft. They had, all their picks were in the 16th spot in each round, nearly most of them. I think 5 of their 7 picks, and they had 1 pick each round.
Yeah, so I think they had all their original picks except for that one trade.
Yeah. So it's it is tough, and this is where we don't obviously know the conversations that's going on in the room. We obviously don't know what the type of player that they like that fits their culture, so to say. So we'll know obviously a lot more, I think, as training camp comes around, rookie camp goes around, and we just see them go up against one another. But this will be one time will tell. Our grades could absolutely change. My grade could go up further. It could definitely go down further as well. But we'll just have to see. In general, though, they did address some needs, and that, to me, was good enough for a little bit higher grade.
Yeah. But as far as 2023 goes, I mean, I still expect them to be fairly competitive. It does sound and look like they're rolling with Sam Howell as the quarterback, and Jacoby Brissett will be there to provide some competition. So I think that's going to be a really interesting thing to watch, but I do still think they're probably at the bottom of this division and could be in a place to take a quarterback next year if the Sam Howell experiment doesn't really work out.
If it doesn't work out, they're definitely going to be in a prime spot to take a quarterback. Because they're in a tough division, and it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, but let's go ahead and wrap up the Commanders draft recap there. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe and smash that bell. And while you're down there, leave a comment. Let us know what you thought of this video. What did you think of the Commanders draft? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Do you think they hit a home run this year? Let us know down below. And other than that, we will see you guys next time.